about language, but maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
I'm
here with Stefy. How are you?
I'm shy for this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
so
Me too.
a little. I don't know.
It's funny. I still get nervous when I interview people, and because I'm like, oh, am I gonna sound like an idiot asking this dumb question?
No. The podcast I heard was really cool. So
We have to thank Luana for that because she takes off all the dumb stuff that I say. She knows how real dumb I am.
Okay.
grande.
Maybe we could start with your background. Like, where are you from?
I'm from a little town, 18 kilometers from Venice.
Uh-huh.
When I was around 21, 22, I met Kretz, my husband. He had already the shop since maybe 6 months or something. I work in the shop. And then the other guy working with Kretz went away and I took his place.
And so before you started working at the shop, had you already started tattooing or you started here?
No. I wasn't tattooing at all. No. For me, it was like something big, impossible. I could tattoo. No. I don't know. For me, it was like something very big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
It was the same idea I had when I first started because I would draw tattoos, but I never thought it could happen to me or something like that.
Me too.
It just seemed over my head.
It was unexpected completely. I was studying maths, imagine.
Maths?
Yes,
Yeah.
so completely another stuff,
Were you in university then?
Yeah, university, yeah.
And then you found tattooing, you're like...
More interesting.
Very more. But had you been an artist as well? Or when you started tattooing, you started making art?
When I was a teenager, I just liked to draw, so I drew some stupid stuff, but just for me, in my little room, but nothing serious.
No.
And then when I met Kretz, he pushed me to draw, and when I finally did some flash, he said to me, okay, it could be nice to tattoo this design. No, it's impossible. Like for me, it's too much. And then he pushed me, and then I was thinking, but maybe on my friends, I can do something. You never know. And then I discover my path in this never-ending story.
For me, it was super nerve-wracking to tattoo. I remember the first time my hands were shaking.
Yes.
And I actually had to quit drinking coffee for like the first 3 years of tattooing because it would make me more anxious and shake more.
Yeah, for me, the most important thing was the responsibility. So I felt I had the chance to modify the body of a person, and this person is important. I need to know this person. I need to understand the way I can draw the design he or she can feel his own design. Because for me that tattoo is something that should match with the person that wears that tattoo.
Right.
There is a relationship I build, and I think Kretz as well, build with people, with our customer. That is something deep. I need to know a little bit my customer before, so we have some conversation. I try to understand the taste. I try to understand the point he or she wanna reach. And so when I was younger, for me, all this stuff was, a lot to deal. It was difficult, super difficult, but Kretz pushed me so much, and then I had the feeling I could do it, and I felt secure, comfy, and then I go on.
Yeah. You started to feel more second-natured and...
Yeah.
How long do you actually spend with a client before getting to know them?
Usually half an hour, sometimes 1 hour. Yeah, depends. Sometimes I choose to give them some time to think, so we need another appointment for talking.
Sure.
Because I don't see them very sure about the design or the meaning they want to express, or I don't know if I see them, floating.
Right.
I decide for them, okay, you need time, check out this stuff on the web, check this painter, do your research.
Mm-hmm.
I will do mine, and then we can meet another time and
Right.
just discover what we choose.
Yeah, I think that's very valuable. I've done that several times, and it's always worked out for the better, where you can't necessarily reach an agreement, and you can sense that the person maybe is in over their head at that moment. And I've said the same thing, like, hey, I don't want you to commit to anything right now.
Yes.
Just, there's a lot of questions I've asked you, and I
Yeah.
think maybe they had an idea. They were just going to tell me what they want, and it was going to happen. And I've been like, okay, let's have another talk, and you can let all the stuff that we talked about sink in. And I think it worked almost every time. And like other times, people find out like, hey, maybe getting tattooed really isn't for me, or maybe I'm not the person to do it, which is fine.
Yeah, because so tattoo is our history. I always say this. It's an history we keep in our skin and in our mind, in our heart, and need time to metabolize. And your body is changing and need time to change, because when you see yourself in the mirror, you identify with the image you see, and need time to identify the new yourself, like with a new sleeve, a new back piece, or even one point, doesn't matter, but need time to understand which person are you in this moment. When sometime happened to me, like to see old picture, and I remember, this is me when I wasn't tattooed, or when I had only this sleeve, not that sleeve. So my mind was like that, or I was doing this stuff rather than other stuff. You identify yourself with the tattoo you have.
It reminds me of a story of this girl I tattooed, and she went into the mirror after. She started crying. She was like, I hate it. Yeah. And I was like, oh no. And that like cold shock in your chest.
Really?
And I was just like, oh, sit with it a while. Maybe you'll think differently. And she was just like crying. And then I was like, oh, what am I going to, I can't do anything.
Yeah, that's why it's important to understand if people are ready or not.
There's a silver lining. I was like, wait for it to heal, because there's nothing we can do. And then like maybe we can change or add something. And then a few months later, she comes back and she completely changed her mind about it. And I think it was like that big shock of it was like a completely new thing. Like she maybe felt like how permanent it was at the time. But it was just like that shock of like, she's completely different now.
Yeah. Is this what I mean? And sometimes this is underrated, estimated. Yeah. So it's important. It's a long path. So it's important we understand people as soon as possible. So sometimes I start watch them, the way they talk, the way they move. I don't know. I just try to understand the body language. And sometimes happen that if I say, no, maybe you need time, let's see, maybe next season, maybe in autumn, we can meet and discuss. No, I want to do it now. I want to do it now. Just because I said no. Sometimes it works in a different, depends the person you have in front. Sometimes they understand. Sometimes they take it like...
like offended or something.
Yes. Yeah.
But do you find you almost need that time yourself too to maybe kind of take in what they're giving you? And because for me, I might not be able to relate to a design, or the first thing that jumps to my mind is something I've maybe seen on the internet, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to regurgitate the same thing I just saw.
Yeah, right.
But maybe with time I could see that same imagery differently. And then at that moment during the consult, I don't have the brain power to do it. I don't have the imagination, but when they're not in front of me anymore, it suddenly just comes to me. It's like, oh, this is how I can approach this design that's maybe done a million times, but approach in a different way that is more, them and more me as well, where I can kind of put more heart into it.
It's a thing we do together. I don't see my job like I do it by myself. I do it always with my customer. Or sometimes it happens they arrive here with friends or wife. At the beginning, I remember I didn't even watch the friend or wife because I was focused on my customer. So because I didn't want other people, say something wrong. But now I changed my idea.
This is not a threesome.
No, I'm more inclusive. I try to speak with everybody.
Yeah.
And then maybe they can talk when they are alone and understand what they understood by me. I don't know what to say. So once it happens, I was speaking with this guy. He would like to have a dragon, but the way he wants. That's typical, things that happen. Okay. And the wife was a little woman with bright eyes watching at me like, yes, he wanted to do a dragon on his sleeve. She was happy, And I was trying to explain, okay, I'm doing this style, I draw dragon in this way, but the design you show me, it's completely different. So I explain you how it works. I always do, since forever, actually. The shop now is 22 years old, and it's 22 years we are working like this. We are trying to explain this. And so this guy, he was a little, upset. She doesn't want to tattoo this dragon, but I want this, and she doesn't want, but why? And so, on the body, it works more like this, and need this big, the tail should be like that, stuff we always tell. And then came back maybe 1 week, 10 days later, and he chose one of my dragon. When we started the sleeve, he told me, the first time I saw you, I came back like, angry, yeah? And but then I spoke with my wife, and she explained me why you were talking to me like this. And then I tried to make some research. I gave him some painter name. And so he could understand there are different style, different way of drawing, like the way we are writing. I write in this way, you write in another way. So drawing is the same thing.
Yeah, it's usually the other way around, where the wife is don't do it, it's too big, etc.
No.
But that was good that she was in your corner.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about some of your trips to Japan and kind of the inspiration you were getting from going there. Does anything jump to your mind about?
A lot of stuff. So the first time I went in Japan was summer 2003. Kretz went in the winter 2003. I went in summer. And for me, it was amazing. My eyes were catched by so many stuff. Was incredible. Like to be, in the moon, in another planet completely. And I was in love with Japanese culture since a long time because I was into anime. So for me, it was like a dream to see, the train, to listen the sound of the train. Or I was fascinated by all the wire on the street.
The telephone line.
Yeah.
We still have that in the States in some places. Yeah.
So for me, it was strange how anime and manga could be so real. I didn't thought something like this. I thought anime was a lot of imagination in, and actually was real. Yeah.
You see anime walking.
No, but
I mean like
the
culture.
The culture, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I went there, I breathed the culture, the way they stay together, the way they talk, the way they see life, death, the way they think art and absorb art from everything, especially from nature, for example. And the sense of infinity they have. For me, Japanese culture, like tattoo culture, it's a well without an end. You can always discover something nice or even maybe something bad. Why not? It's not a perfect country. I mean, yeah, because sometimes we
like glorify something.
Yeah. So yeah, for me it was a dream come true, and was very important to build a relationship with some person that when I think of them, I think like they are my brother. I felt like a stronger relationship because we discovered we had the same past. Like we arrived from punk rock, so we were a rebel, you know, in the 90s, doing our stuff or thinking in a different way, you know. And my friends, they teach me what is like a tattoo family and what is orimono. How they feel to be a tattooer. Like Shiryu told me one time, so a tattooer, it's not only the tattoo he does, it's not only the stuff you see, it's the person that did it. It's more complex, it's more deeper, you know. It's not only the surface. Okay, this person has a history, has an ethic. He comes from this family. He has this master. So it's more. It's deeper. You know.
It's funny because you know, in the States we don't really have that type of thought. I mean, maybe not even in Europe. And to have that kind of more profound way of thinking of like developing as a person along with your artwork, it's kind of interesting to think that tattooing in Japan is kind of a lowbrow or like a criminal culture when you have that attached to it as well.
Yeah.
But it's inspiring for me.
Usually Yakuza, they have a lot of culture in tattooing. They know which tattooer is good for shading, which one is good for lining. And so some of them choose that one for the design. A long time ago, I mean, I speaking about 2003. Even before, because we were speaking about...
Would they go to different artists to finish the work?
But they did even...
years ago, in recent time.
Not recent time.
But the beginning of Japanese tattooing was like that. So there was this artist very renowned for his lining. Everybody got the design by this guy, and then they got the shading by the other guy that was good at shading. Because imagine, when you invent a craft, I mean, not everything pop out good from you. Maybe you're good at liner, another is good shading. Tatak.
But I've never been to Japan. I love talking to people who have been and giving me an idea of what it's like. And I draw a lot of inspiration from the artwork. But I'm kind of half blind, I think. I'm only seeing a surface layer. It's nice, even though it's a second-hand experience, you know, it's a lot closer than I had before.
Yeah.
So you've been back quite often?
Every year.
Yeah.
And we will be in Japan in November.
Okay.
This year. Yeah, I can't wait.
Are you guys going to work, or are you gonna...
I think yes.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
In like in Korea, we're gonna work at Baki in Busan, Southern Korea, and then we're gonna go to Japan and see what happens. Probably we're gonna work in Tokyo at Ichi Atano shop. I still have to plan it very well because, you know, now we have an age and a shop from long time, so we like to enjoy when we go around. So we work the minimum.
Yeah, but I remember when we when we tattoo in Japan without shoes, you know.
Floor style.
Yeah, but
no chairs, just chairs.
yeah.
Tattoo on the fucking
Sometimes,
floor.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was hardcore for your back if you're not used to. And I was fat, like 30 kilos bigger than now. So at least you have this cushion, you know that.
But it's good, Stefy, that you were talking about, you know, maybe just going to work a little bit. Just if it happens, it will happen.
Yeah, I don't need to work. I don't feel like I have to work. No. I try to enjoy as much as I can.
Yeah. When we saw you guys last in Denmark, you guys were on your trip and you had the van. Yeah. And you were saying to me how you just wanted to take yourself away from work for the next 20 days or so.
Yeah.
And,
I need to get out and stay in the nature.
Yeah.
Because living in the city, it's difficult for me. Staying in the concrete all the time is difficult, and I need to see trees and the sea, to listen to birds, and I need a contact with nature. Yeah, simply nature.
Yeah, that really inspired me to take some time off as well. Yeah, because we were just traveling the last 3 weeks, and I worked a week in Boston, only because I told people I was going to be there. But then after that, I just try to work as minimal as possible and didn't even draw.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I didn't draw. No, nothing.
Very impossible for me to do. Like I just don't know what to do with myself. But in that time, I got so many great ideas.
Observation, it's very important. So when you are not active in create something, you can observe whatever you want. And then you just have to remember, I don't know, the feeling you get from this situation, or maybe you see a nice tree with like a deep green leaves, and so I keep in mind this sensation, and so I try when I come back to put it on the design.
That's it's kind of an old technique from landscape painters. There was a Hudson River Valley movement, and one of the artists in particular, he would go draw from the scene in life and then put the drawing and everything away. But then he would just draw enough things or paint enough things that it would give him the memory. Back in his studio, he would paint the scene how it felt and how it came from the memory. And so the scene always had this kind of dream-like quality. He was no longer looking at it. It was just from the quick sketch, like the bare essentials. And then back at the studio, he would just make these enormous paintings.
Yeah, it's like you metabolize what you see, and through your body, you just take it out in a different way with your emotion. I think it's important. It's one of the fun part of our job for me. And
need activities that you want to do that is not related to tattooing. We are couples, so we're 24 hours talking tattoos,
imagine.
Tattoos. So, we need a break, and we take breaks. And the older you get, the longer the breaks, I think. Because then when you go back, you have a huge new background, and this comes from relaxation.
Right.
And even yoga helps.
Yeah, I think that's important for the longevity, and I'm discovering that now. Like, because I always push it so hard, and then I want to just die.
Take time to restore yourself. Always.
So I wanted to jump back to some of the art you've been making, because the first time actually we met was in London, and you had these amazing bags and the drapes and stuff like that. I really loved. Yeah. It was like the screen printing.
You mean the knot and the Japanese curtain?
You have the print.
Yeah, the big one. Yeah. I did it with the iPad.
You did?
Yeah. So yeah, digital is good for me. You can give the effect you want, rough or more detail and precise.
Oh, it's fantastic because when I looked at the print, I was like, because it's screen printed, you can't tell if it was
iPad. Yeah. Just need to know which tools are the best. Just this.
But it was smart, I think, making the bags. Did you sew them yourself? Or?
So we ask a woman to sew the bags. Everything is done here in Italy. The print, everything.
Right. Yeah. And how much of a focus do you have on the painting side of things? Because I noticed you paint a lot.
Sometimes I feel like I want to paint. Yeah, I stay home. We paint together. Sometimes I paint. Sometimes Kretz paint. Sometimes I don't feel it, and I just don't do it. Right. Sometimes, like for maybe 3-4 months, I don't paint. But I draw a lot for work.
Sure.
I like to focus on some theme. So I did 2 solo exhibition 2 years ago, and the theme was the same. For me, it's very important, like the role of women in the world in general. But in Japanese culture, most of the people, has the idea of the geisha, the geisha, like it's the only woman in Japan. The geisha is not like this. There are many kind of women. So I thought I can do like an exhibition about the Japanese figure in the folklore. You have a lot of heroine, a lot of divinities, a lot of different kind of women, bad woman, good woman. And so when I was focused on this stuff, I produce a lot. And then I quit because of the, sometimes you need to quit. Don't paint, don't do nothing. Yeah. And then I restart.
The one painting that you were doing recently with Krez, actually.
The dragon.
The dragon and then the skate park.
Yes. It was fun. 2 days of fun. Yes. Our friend asked us to do it. And we took it like, okay, we try.
Like they see one that we did.
Explain.
They see one. Yeah. So I painted the park here around the corner with a 25 meters dragon. And they saw the pictures and they have this mini ramp in their garden. So they said, is it possible to do it on a mini ramp? And I have no answer. Because I can do it, but I don't know if the ink will stay, because I've never did it before, no? So I said, okay, we can try. And the guy is carrozziere. I don't know how you translate that.
Okay.
He paint cars. Okay. So he does paint job. So he painted the background for us to paint. I trace it with a pencil and do the lines, and she helped me out with everything else. So,
it was fun. It was hot.
Like
40 degrees, incredible, very difficult.
You want to paint it.
You want to get it done quick.
Yeah.
If you sit in the middle, you are surrounded by the dragon. It's like very good.
And it was nice to think about the skater just flying on the dragon.
And if you want to chase the dragon by skate, that's the only way now. In Vicenza.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was fun, super fun. It's nice to do this kind of collaboration. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah, I like doing it as well. I don't do it as much because it takes up so much time. But
Yeah, and it's fun. I learn a lot because I am more like precise. I do like I want to do the line, okay, like good, and
I'm an animal.
Yeah, no, do it fast. Do it, okay, do it, okay.
But that's not because I'm lazy. It's because I think the energy of a quick fucking line, even in a tattoo, is much more romantic than, this thing very solid and everything, but there is no soul in it.
Yeah, cold.
So I like to see the soul. So mistake art soul.
Awesome. I love it. Let's close at that. Let's see more of the soul.
Yeah.
Awesome. And can we get your information?
Ok. Allora,
ci pensiamo.
Allora, on Instagram I am MANEKISTEFY _ Adrenalink. Facebook, I think I should be MANEKISTEFY. That's it, maybe.
That's it.
No,
That's it.
no.
That's your family name. That's it.
That's it. No. MANEKISTEFY on Facebook.
Hori, that's it.
And Adrenalink Tattoo, Marghera.
Well, we'll see each other in London.
In London.
Yeah.
Cool.
Can't wait for London.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Give me a hug.
Bini, bini.